Why does the world need small YouTubers to step up, show up, start on YouTube? This week's been pretty hard for me, trying to process everything that's going on, all the things people are feeling, all the stories and conversations people are starting, sharing. As you guys know, I like sorting things, taking complicated things, breaking it down into something I can really understand, something I can find clarity with, insight with, accuracy with. But a lot of the abuse, injustice, racism, and unnecessary deaths that are now top of mind, top of conversation right now, it's something that I can never sort through. I can never figure out. I can never understand or process, no matter how hard I try. A lot of us are outraged about the same things, heartbroken about the same injustices, but it's really interesting seeing how each of us has our own unique way of helping, stepping up, caring, and fighting. The last week I've been really overwhelmed trying to wrestle with these questions of how can I care more? How can I stand against injustice? And how can I actually make a meaningful change with this issue? If you take a look at all the conversations and protests and outrage that's going on right now, everyone's approaching it in a different way, but it really does come back to these three questions. How can we care more? How can we stand against injustice? And how can this actually meaningfully change? Yes, we should be educating ourselves, listening, protesting, donating, promoting other Black creators, having tough conversations. Those are all wonderful, important things that should be happening right now. But at the same time, when you've got an issue as complicated, as systemic, as horrible, as racism, as this injustice, as this abuse of power, as these unnecessary deaths, there's a part of me that still feels that's not enough. I see how I can care more. I see how I can stand against injustice, but how can we actually make a meaningful change, big picture, long term? I think a lot of us are wrestling with that same question right now. Big picture, long term. How can this actually change? This past week when I was trying to decompress, get away from social media, I found myself, as usual, drawn to YouTube. And the content that was especially meaningful to me this past week was stuff where people were coming together, connecting, and laughing. This week I found myself watching a lot more vlogs. I wanted that hanging out with your best friend feeling. It didn't really matter if what they were sharing was relevant, funny, exciting, scary, or even boring. I just wanted to spend some time with them. I found it connecting, comforting. There's a lot of creators over the past 10 years who have actually influenced my life, what I believe, what I understand. They've comforted me, helped me feel seen, heard, understood in really personal ways. And they have no idea that that's happened. The ways they've made me think, the ways they've made me smile, the ways they've made me actually change certain things in my life. It's really quite profound, the reach of their influence and impact. And then this started making me think, if I had posted something on Facebook a couple years ago, it would have probably reached 20, 40, 60 people tops. But for some reason, because I've invested in this YouTube thing, worked on it hard, consistently over the past 2 years, suddenly if I share something, it reaches actually 10 times more people. I still have basically the same core values, passion, sincerity I had 2.5 years ago, but because I've invested in this platform behind the scenes, my same idea, my same voice actually goes out to 10 times more people. If these creators on the screen never started their YouTube channel, I would never have met them. I would never have interacted with their ideas, their perspectives, their stories. I would never have been positively impacted by what they have to say or what they're putting out into the world. But because they put in the hard work, sacrifice, behind the scenes, consistently, year after year after year, suddenly they're in my life, actually being a change maker in my life. This blows my mind. Think about that. I should not normally be hearing from Q and his personal stories. He's in Chicago, he has a kid, he's a different age than me, he has a completely different background than me. But because of all the small investments he's put into his YouTube channel, time, energy, care, thought, into amplifying his voice, I am hearing from Q this past week. He is in my life. He is making me think. If Roberto Blake hadn't started making content years ago, sacrificing over and over again, not just then, but over the past decade, his reach would be at least 100,000 times less influential. If MKBHD didn't start his YouTube channel, his reach would literally go from millions to a couple hundred. I guess what I'm trying to say is, I know YouTube isn't for everyone, and I know it's really, really hard to show up for over and over again, but there's something about investing in a platform like this that actually measurably, undeniably amplifies your voice, where that actually changes things? What if one of the ways we can help, care, fight for the things we believe in, for the things we want changed in this world, big picture, long term, is to invest in things now that will actually grow your reach in significant ways, that will actually amplify your voice, values, perspective, not just with a Facebook post, but by a factor of 10, 100, maybe even 1,000,000 times. I think we underestimate how much reach, impact is accessible to us later if we put in the work now. If you're working on your YouTube channel, you have something a lot of people don't have. A lot of people can't have their voice heard in that way, especially not big picture, long term. When we're wrestling with that last question, how can we actually make things change the conversation, the systems we have, the leaders we have, the stories we have? Small YouTubers, planting the seeds now, putting in that hard work consistently behind the scenes to amplify your reach, your voice, your stories, that actually does change things. Roberto Blake, MKBHD, Mr. Beast, Casey Neistat, they all started as small YouTubers. But because of how they showed up and sacrificed over and over again, they are change makers in a completely different way. The world needs more small YouTubers doing their part, big picture, long term. It may not seem sexy or relevant now, but big picture, it's actually really, really significant. You are the change maker of your own life and in the lives of others. Let's think more deeply. Thank you guys for listening. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace, peace.